I'm remarrying with my junior. I don't need you anymore. What? What do you mean by that? Can't you understand? I don't need you anymore. So you don't have to come back. Why all of a sudden? It's not sudden. I've been thinking about it for a while. I thought now is a good time.
One day, on my way back from part-time work, I received a call from my husband, and he suddenly told me about the divorce. To have such an important conversation over the phone. Furthermore, I've been juggling housework, child-rearing, caregiving, and part-time work for 15 years. It's not something my husband, who has been enjoying himself all the time, should be saying. But when he said he wanted a divorce, I couldn't help but let out a little smile.
I understand. Well then, goodbye. It's good that you accepted it so quickly. Well, it's over now.
He already has a new fiancée, so he seems to be in high spirits. However, I can imagine what he will be like from now on.
I'm 54 years old and work part-time. I've been married for almost 30 years. My daughter, Emily, has started working and moved out, and my father-in-law has already passed away due to illness. So, now I live in my husband Kevin's family home with my mother-in-law, Susan.
I moved into my in-laws' house 15 years ago when my father-in-law passed away.
I can't leave my mother alone. So, I'm thinking of living together with her. Certainly, your mother is only 65, but she has mild dementia. And Emily is in the 3rd grade, right? If we move a few years later, during her elementary school graduation or exam period, the change in environment might make it tough for her, right? You're right. We've been talking about living together someday. Maybe it's better to start living together now.
That's how my life began to live with my mother-in-law in her family home. Furthermore, if her dementia progresses, it would be difficult to balance work and caregiving. So, I decided to quit my job and work part-time. I could have waited a little longer to quit my job, but I wanted to spend more time with my daughter after we start to live together.
I'm going shopping, so I'll leave the laundry to you. Is there anything you want me to buy? My peeler broke, so please buy a new one. That's right. I'll get one for you.
She has mild dementia, and her symptoms are not severe. She helps with household chores and childcare, and our relationship is good. I was a bit nervous about living with my mother-in-law, but once we started, it turned out to be very peaceful. However, after a while of living in her house, my husband's attitude gradually started to change. She helps with household chores and childcare, and I switched to working part-time. As a result, the burden on me in daily life has significantly decreased compared to before. This is a positive change, but it seems my husband is not pleased with it.
You're lucky. Household chores and childcare have become easier for you. Besides, you quit your job. It must be quite comfortable for you. It's true that the burden has decreased, but household chores and childcare are still hard, and I'm also working part-time. With my mother's help, the burden of household chores and childcare has been halved. What's so difficult about your part-time job at the supermarket? Just arranging vegetables? What's so hard about that?
Did something unpleasant happen at work for him? He started saying things he hadn't said before. However, my daughter and mother-in-law support me, so I feel reassured.
Did you hear? Dad is making fun of Mom again. Don't become an adult like him. I know. We shouldn't look down on people like that. You too. Don't butt in unnecessarily. I wasn't butting in. I was just talking to Grandma. That's right. Besides, there's no need to yell like that all of a sudden. That's enough.
Maybe because he felt uncomfortable at home with no one supporting him, he turned to his hobbies. I think it's his own fault that no one is on his side. However, sulking and turning to hobbies as a grown adult is pathetic. Still, it would have been fine if he just quietly indulged in his hobbies, but there was a slight problem with his hobby.
What? Did you buy another one? Don't you already have the same thing? To you, it might look the same, but this new fishing rod is different from the old one. You were modifying with the motorcycle the other day, right? How much did you spend on it? Quit nagging. I can use my hard-earned money however I want. It's my freedom.
One of his purposes for going outdoors is his hobbies. Therefore, he has many outdoor hobbies such as fishing, biking, and camping. These hobbies cost money. Since he spends money as he pleases, I've had to manage our finances and live a frugal life.
Hey, your clothes are torn, you know? I'm wearing it as loungewear because it's already damaged. Can't you just buy loungewear? You dress like a poor person. The reason I don't buy loungewear is that someone here spends too much money.
It's frustrating to be laughed at for that. 10 years have passed, and my mother-in-law's dementia has gotten worse.
The glasses I left here are missing. Someone must have stolen them. Even if someone stole your reading glasses, who would use them? Then it must be harassment. Mom and I wouldn't do something like that. Grandma probably just left them somewhere. Let's look together. They used to be in the bathroom. I'll go check.
She started having delusions, thinking that things were suddenly stolen, and at night, she became restless and yelled loudly. Being a caregiver becomes challenging in such situations. However, knowing my mother-in-law's kindness from the past, I felt grateful. In return, I provided her with proper care. But caregiving is physically and emotionally demanding. My daughter is currently a college student, often working part-time after school and having her own studies, so I can't burden her too much. Therefore, I discussed the situation with my husband.
Huh? You should take care of your mom. You quit your job for that, right? I'm not doing it.
He remains as indifferent as ever, immersed in his hobbies without helping with household chores or caregiving. I've contemplated divorce countless times due to his attitude. However, I endure it, at least until our daughter becomes independent. I can't expect any help from him, so I reluctantly took on the responsibility of caring for her, occasionally seeking assistance from Emily. Then, another 5 years passed, Emily graduated from college and secured a job. It is a truly joyous moment, however, he broke it up. Emily has become a working adult. You got a decent job, right? I must have raised her well. From now on, you should earn well and take care of me. Huh? Why you? If I should do that, I would do that for Mom and Grandma. What's that? Is that how you talk to the parents who raised you? It was Mom who raised me. Don't expect unconditional respect just because you're the father. Seriously, you are such a lousy father. What did you say? So cheeky. Are you getting angry when someone tells you the truth? Hold on. Both of you, stop it. It was getting close to a physical confrontation, so I intervened and stopped their fight. The situation was resolved at that moment, but the next day, he created another turmoil. Hey! What are you doing? As soon as she got home, she caught her dad. What's going on? He called and lied to my future employer, saying that I want to decline the job offer. Is that true? What are you thinking? I thought of giving you a little taste of reality because you're rebelling against me and don't appreciate your parents. You. Seriously, stop messing around. For now, both of you calm down. I separated my daughter from my husband. She was still agitated, but he seemed to wear a smug expression, As if to say, how do you like that? So, Emily, was everything okay with your company? Yeah. The HR person called me to confirm. I told them I'm not declining the offer, so the job offer remains valid. What the hell? So, you didn't back out of the job offer? Damn it. You know what? I may not have backed out of the job offer, but now I have the worst impression before even starting the job. What are you going to do about it? Those rebellious kids who go against their parents will end up with a bad impression after starting the job anyway. You just lost first. Emily, don't you think it'll just annoy you more if you keep talking? Go to your room. I told her to go to her room to diffuse the situation, and that marked the end of the day's argument. Afterward, there was a heavy atmosphere in the house. Then, she left for work without exchanging a single word with him. Right before leaving, she seemed worried about me staying behind at home. Mom, are you still gonna stay in this house? Yes, because your grandma is here. Technically, he should be taking care of her too. Don't say it like that. I used comforting words, but the truth is I'm worn out from my husband's attitude and my mother-in-law's care. I also want to leave. I guess my thoughts showed on my face, which only worried her more. Since our house is close by, feel free to rely on us if anything happens. Thank you. I would do that. A few days after my daughter left, my husband called while I was on my way home from my part-time job. Did you finish your part-time job? Yes, I'm on my way home now. Good timing. What? I'm going to remarry with a younger colleague. I don't need you anymore. What do you mean by that? Can't you understand? I don't need you anymore, so you don't have to come back. Why all of a sudden? It's not sudden. I've been thinking about it for a while. Now seems like a good time. What's so good about this time? Emily moved out and became independent, right? I've thought about divorce too. Remarriages are not uncommon, so I don't particularly mind if he remarries. However, I've been working hard for these 15 years, juggling housework, child-rearing, caregiving, and part-time work. Especially in the past 5 years, caregiving for my mother-in-law was challenging. While I was struggling, he enjoyed his hobbies. Why should I be the one to initiate a divorce in such a state? Moreover, why did he choose to convey such an important matter over the phone? What nonsense are you talking about? Normally, I'd be trembling with anger at such a statement. However, after 15 years, both physically and mentally, I was exhausted. I had reached the point where I was ready to accept his words. I understood. Well then, goodbye. It's good that you accepted it so quickly. Well, it's over now. After hanging up, I thought about going back to the house to get my belongings, but my bag, wallet, and work clothes were with me. I had worn out old clothes at home, which I couldn't afford to replace due to a frugal lifestyle. I decided to follow his wishes and not return home. 15 years had passed since I left my job, and at 54 years old, my future looked bleak. But when I thought about what would happen to my husband, I couldn't help but smile. For now, I decided to go to my daughter's house. I'm sorry for coming all of the sudden. Mom, you don't need to apologize. The one who did something wrong is him, suddenly talking about divorce, right? If it's going to be brought up, it should be by you. Why did he say it first? Who does he think he is? Emily, please calm down. Mom, you're too calm. What are you going to do now? Well, should we get divorced after all? That's the right thing to do. You should split up with that guy as soon as possible. But, your grandmother. Mom, you've taken care of Grandma for a long time. It's more than enough. I'm sure Grandma appreciates it, and she'll probably support the divorce. Besides, he should be a little more filial to him. That makes sense. Encouraged by Emily's words, I decided on the divorce. I had already accepted it, and my husband had someone else, so the divorce proceeded smoothly. It's a bit small, but you're welcome to stay here as long as you like. Or should we save some money and move to a slightly bigger place together? Thank you, but I'll be leaving in a while. After the divorce, I stayed with her place for a while. However, I didn't want to inconvenience her for too long, so after about 3 months, I moved into a small apartment. Thus began my single life. As I was going to have a peaceful life, my ex-husband called me. My bad, I'm sorry. I really want you to come back. Huh? We're already divorced, right? Why do I have to go back? Well, my new partner ran away. So it turned out like that, huh? I couldn't help but laugh. His new partner had left him, and he couldn't manage caregiving and life alone, so he came crying to me. It was exactly as I had imagined. Shall I guess what happened? What? What do you know? I know. We've been a couple for about 30 years. You made your new partner quit her job, made her work part-time, and even made her take care of her, right? Wouldn't you be able to predict that if you knew her situation? But caregiving was tough, and didn't you have arguments with your new partner? And you don't even help her. Well. And when I checked the finances, we were struggling due to your extravagance. You didn't even listen to her when she warned you, and the fight becomes frequent. You've been abandoned because of the difficult caregiving, tough life, and your wasteful habits. Both situations could have been avoided if you had just changed your attitude. LOL. My predictions seemed to be right on the mark, and I could feel him shrinking over the phone. But you managed, didn't you? I was able to endure a difficult life, because I had made up my mind to endure it until our daughter became independent. Did she have any such determination? If not, do you think you can endure a life where she can't even buy her clothes and you're free to spend money as you please? Well, in caregiving, I was able to do it because I knew about the gentle her who helped with household chores and child rearing before her dementia got severe. It may be a bit harsh to say it, but the fact that her dementia gradually progressed allowed me to gradually adapt to caregiving. And because I had been doing household chores and child rearing together with her for a long time, even after her dementia got worse, I somehow understood what she wanted to say and how she felt. Did your partner have any caregiving experience? I mean, caregiving for a severe dementia mother-in-law with no prior connection like me? Even if you're told to do it all of a sudden, isn't that impossible? He understood nothing about our living expenses or her caregiving. Therefore, even during the divorce, I presented unfavorable conditions to him, who already had someone else. He accepted most of the conditions, because he did not understand his situation at all. One of the conditions was that the property should go to him, and most of the couple's savings would come to me. He probably thought he could save money again easily, but when his new partner disappeared and he faced the reality, he panicked and called me. Predicting this was quite easy. Of course, even if he begged me, I had no intention of returning to him. I understand that you're in a difficult situation, but I have no intention of returning at all. Please don't say that. Then, why didn't you listen to me, and why did you spend money selfishly, not help with caregiving, and argue with me and our daughter? Well, things weren't going well at work. At the beginning of our cohabitation, he had apparently made a big mistake, which was nearly at the level of being transferred to a remote location. When he saw me that the burden of housework and child rearing decreased while he was struggling at work, he became irritated. Furthermore, he panicked as his mistake led to more errors, and he lost credibility at work, lagging behind as his colleagues were getting promoted. He had apparently released the stress from this pressure through reckless spending, and taking it out on me and our daughter. In other words, in simple terms, you just acted recklessly, didn't you? That's right. I'll change my attitude from now on, so please come back. Hearing that, I'm even less inclined to come back. Did I endure 15 years of hardship because of your whim? I'm really sorry. It's too late, and your apology doesn't sound like it contains the weight of 15 years of hardship. Don't call me anymore. I ignored his desperate pleas and hung up. This should mark the real end of the relationship with him. However, after being rejected by me, it seems he turned to our daughter for help. I heard he called you? Yes, he did. He said he can't manage his life with just him and Grandma, so he begged for help. He called you too, right? He did, but the content was exactly the same as when it was Emily, lol. I have fought with him with a lot of things. But a parent who rely on their child who's just starting their first year as a working adult? Where do you even find them? Maybe he's that desperate, isn't he? He just wants an easier life, right? If he tries hard, he should be able to live with his mom. I wonder if your grandma will be okay with just him. Don't worry about that. I'll check on her from time to time. If she's not being properly cared for, I'll give him a piece of my mind. Of course, I won't help him out. I'll make sure he takes responsibility. But what if he asks for help when you visit his place again? I'll turn him down flat. If he wants my help, he'd better start acting like a parent first. What do you mean? Well, if he's been spending money as he pleases, how about having him pay for my tuition fees? That seems impossible for him now. Thanks to my daughter's help, I resolved my concerns about my ex-husband and mother-in-law. Now I can start my life with peace of mind. After the divorce, my ex-husband, who was abandoned by his new wife, had to take care of his mother himself. He switched jobs to a company that allowed teleworking as his current job wouldn't allow him to provide care for his mother. However, the new job conditions were not so great, and he further reduced his limited income. My ex-husband was already in his mid-50s, and he had been an average employee in his previous company due to his low capabilities. He didn't have many options. It was a relief that he managed to change jobs at all. But even though he could work from home, it didn't mean he never had to go to the office. So, he had to use daycare services, which added to the already difficult life. Moreover, he had to suddenly take care of housework, work, and caregiving by himself. He must have understood how difficult it was to handle all of this and how much he had burdened his partner. I also took care of Emily on top of all that. Did he realize how significant my presence was? He seemed to be quite physically and mentally exhausted, and he was under a lot of pressure. Neighbors often heard them shouting at each other late at night. However, when my daughter found out that my ex-husband had a bad attitude towards my ex-mother-in-law, she yelled at him. I've heard from Grandma. She said you yelled at her? No, because she said I stole money yesterday. But I didn't do anything. Grandma often loses things. Didn't you see that Mom and I were always searching for them together? Instead of yelling, you should go find together. Thanks to my daughter scolding her father, the frequency of shouting at night seems to have decreased. However, it's quite surprising that a middle-aged man can be scolded by his child, who's just started her first year as a working adult. I don't understand why he was often able to say something to his daughter. With that, I began living on my own and started working. Even at 54 with a 15-year career gap, it turned out I could manage somehow. Freed from the frugal life and the husband, I'm enjoying a life of freedom.